Parker, what's going on, man? How we doing?
Hey, buddy, that's a wonderful opening weekend there. That's exactly what we all were
Hang
hoping
on,
for.
Parker, you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Track the price of your flight.
So, I can hear you now. Go ahead. You're good.
No, yeah, that was quite the opening weekend there, buddy. I'm sure no
Oh,
one's
this
gonna overreact
sucks.
though, so it's gonna be okay.
This sucks. This
That was a
sucks.
long few hours.
I'll say this. Um, so far, the defense looks like they're ready to win games. Special teams, for the most part, punt coverage, kick coverage looks fine. No big let ups there. But that offense, that looked like the worst offense in the league today.
Yeah, that offensive performance was not ideal. I think you could say. I think that's a fair assessment.
A pee-wee run football team could have put up more yardage, I think, offensively than what we did today.
I just
And
don't
now
understand like the run pass split from this game is going to be embarrassing to look at.
it is. It is. And we were actually gaining yardage via the run today. Joe Mixon was going for 6.4 yards per carry at halftime.
Yeah,
I don't
halftime it
know
was
what
at
he
six and a half, man. That's freaking. How do you go away from that?
I don't know what he finished with, but I can tell you it was probably better than what the past game did. 4.3 yards
4.3.
per
That's what we
carry.
wanted, right? 4.3 carries, what he had. And that's awesome.
That's atrocious. That the pass game was that bad and the run game was that good, and we leaned on the pass as much as we did. Seemed like every third down, every third and short was just a deep ball. Just
Yeah, when
no.
that's the thing though, it was a go ball down the sideline. It wasn't like, oh, let's run some easy stuff in the middle. Let's get someone open on a crosser. It was like, let's drop back and send this home. Like I don't
Not,
understand what the
Nothing over the middle of the field. I think the one over the middle field play that I can remember was the Tyler Boyd third
Yep.
down, and I think that might have been the first of the second drive where he ended up getting 4 or 5 yards on 3rd and 6, fourth down. Disappointing.
I
It's
mean,
a disappointing day.
we talked all week about how it was all about, make it easy, take the easy stuff, and just kind of grind this defense down, and we would have been fine. And it feels like they did that. I feel like, I mean, that's where the Browns came out. They feel like they had a plan. Their run game was working, so they stuck with it. They were making the easy throws early. They weren't making some of the harder throws. And then once those started to click, it just kind of ran away. So.
I didn't get, so we were gaining 4.3 yards per carry, obviously for the full game for Mixon. Why didn't we run the football more? And why did we keep running to the right side? Why didn't we cut back to the left? Why didn't we run a toss to the left? Are they afraid of Myles Garrett? Does Myles Garrett put fear in their eyes in the run game? What was the issue? Why did we keep running to the right side? And why did we keep running? It felt like everything was, be patient, be patient, be patient. No, just straight up powers, up the gut. And when we did do those, it was usually on a first down. No running on second downs.
None.
Like
None.
this, this was this was probably even though Burrow had 5 interceptions last year in that first game, this was probably the worst Joe Burrow performance I think I've seen. This was probably the worst play calling performance I think I've seen. And the defense played exactly as they did on that Thursday night football game last year in the first matchup. They played like they wanted to win the football game, and they created multiple turnovers, and the offense did zero with it.
Well, that's the thing is like we didn't really win the field position battle, but then when we finally started getting some opportunities closer, it was just like, let's just suffocate ourselves. And that's where it's like you were talking about, it's frustrating where, early in the game they were having a lot of success, pulling Brown around. And I was like, oh, well, it's great and all to pull him, but let's run to the left and pull Jonah, pull Kappa, and let's open some stuff up on the left side. Then they hit that one run up the left for like 12 yards, and they came right back, same play to the right, hit it for like 22. And it was like, oh man, here we go. Let's get some offense going. And then it was instantly a deep shot, and then we're second and long, and then it was just kind of fizzled. And I was like, what are you doing?
What are we doing?
Going on?
What are we doing? Run the ball. If it's working, keep doing it. Stop. Don't think about pass. The pass hasn't worked. It's a rainy day. It's wet. Run the ball. That's what's working. It's working, Parker. Do it.
We're gonna give Joe Burrow a glove and then try and force this thing down the field to the outside. Again, I'm not opposed to passing the ball, like in general, but just like don't throw sideline shots. And that's your only pass game. Like, because even the middle, the stuff in the middle was working. Like they even got that one to Chase late. We talked about the one to Tyler Boyd. It was just like, man, like why are we like, we're throwing swing passes, we're throwing deep shots down the sideline. We're not. It's just like, it's like we talked about last season, but it's like we have to attack the middle of the field, man. We're gonna see too high. Attack the middle of the field.
The game is officially over. Let the show begin. Welcome in, Bengals fans, on what is a tough day to be a Cincinnati Bengal and a Cincinnati Bengals fan. Parker, how are you doing?
Oh, it's I sent out a post. I guess we'll start trying to call them, but my mentions are going to be atrocious this week, so I'm just trying to mentally prepare for that because we all saw that fourth down, and I'm sure that's all I'll hear about for the next 6 days. So. Looking forward to it.
Let's get right into it, man. How about it?
Let's do
it. Third downs to start, Parker. Let me give you the numbers. 2 of 15 on the day.
Is that bad?
You're never going to win a football. Never, ever will you win a football game going 2 of 15 on third downs. Never. Not one. Parker, 2 of 15 on third downs. Let's before we go even further on that, let's talk about the actual scoring of this game, right?
Let's do it.
It felt like just a complete no offensive look in the first half. Cleveland scored a field goal with about 14-19 to go in the second quarter. They capped it off with a touchdown right before half, a Deshaun Watson 13-yard run. It was 10-0, even though the defense had created turnovers, even though the defensive line was getting pressure. Come back third quarter, early field goal to get back into the game, 10-3. But then they answered right back with a field goal of their own, making it 13-3 towards the end of the third quarter there. There was a point where we did have a pick by Dax Hill. We were in great field position, and I think it was still 10-3, and we did not capitalize. We ended up punting there. And then in the fourth quarter, Cleveland took over, how Cleveland does. A field goal from Dustin Hopkins, making it 16-3, and then a 3-yard touchdown pass by Deshaun Watson to Harrison Bryant with the 2-point conversion on a Deshaun Watson run to make it 24-3. And your Cincinnati Bengals were blown out today.
3 touchdowns, 21 points. And a missed field goal from Money Mac. That really just felt like the final nail in the coffin, honestly.
Yeah. But let's talk about those third downs because I think all of them were important. What did you see out there on third down?
I saw a lot of go balls on third and short. I saw a lot of go balls on third and long. I saw a lot of go balls third and medium. I feel like their only game plan really on third down was just take a shot. And I understood it at first because it was like if they're going to show zero, they're going to show man, they're going to show some extra pressure. Let's try and attack it. But you can't just rely on one-on-ones to like carry a team through the season. You have to if they're throwing pressure, you got to throw out pressure, open up the middle of the field, attack the middle of the field. Get Tyler Boyd and a crosser. If you want to, I'm not opposed to throwing it on third down, even third and short, even though, when your run game's averaging 4.3 yards, maybe you should run it on 3rd and 3. But I mean, you get Irv across the middle, get Tyler across the middle, just make some easy throws. He had time. Burrow had time. It was just, I feel like he wasn't seeing what he wanted to when he was processing. I'm excited to go back and watch the film and see what it looks like downfield. But overall, it was just I felt like it was we're going to run the ball, and if the run doesn't work, we're going to take 2 shots and get out of here. So, yeah, that's not an effective way. That's a good way to get to 2 and 15. 2 for 15 on third down.
3rd and 3 at the Cleveland 38 with 8:52 to go in the second quarter. The Bengals were down 3-0. Joe Burrow throws a goal ball down the right sideline to T. Higgins, incomplete. Nearly outstretched arm. Instead of running it twice. They ran it twice the play before. They had a 5-yard gain by Travion. The play before that, he fell, and they still gained 2 yards after he got back up. So 7 yards on the run on 2 plays. To me, 38-yard line with the weather that way, I felt like it was going to be another power run up the middle, and we were going to go for it on 4th down if we didn't get it. If we got a yard, if we got 2 yards, we were going to go for it on 4th down on a 3rd and 3. And instead, we threw a go ball to T. Higgins, and then we punted, something that we just don't do on the opponent's 38. When that happened, I was like, oh, boy. Zach Taylor is being way too aggressive on 3rd down, and he's being way too conservative when it comes to field position. Way too conservative.
They went for 1 4th down, and where was that 4th down, Game On? Do you recall where that 4th down was on the field?
Yeah, it was on our side of the field. I mean, just kind of a Hail Mary type 4th down, in my opinion.
We're going for 4th and long on like the -30, but we can't go for the 3rd and 3 on the plus. Oh man, yeah. 3rd downs was it was funny because it was just like 3rd down didn't go well, and then I think they had 1, 2 good punts the whole game. Out of
the 4th down
coming out of halftime, we had more punts than completions.
We did. Shout out to Brad Robbins for getting extended work in his very first game. And some looked good and some did not. And the young kid will learn from that and hopefully grow in his career. That 4th down was 10:32 to go in the 4th quarter. The Bengals, I believe, were down. They were down 16-3. That's right. They were down 16-3. Myles Garrett sack, 13-yard loss on our own 31-yard line. That's when the 4th and 4 happened. Oh, man. With Cleveland, man, it's always so ugly. Why is it so ugly? Whenever we play in Cleveland, every single time, it's an ugly game, and it can never be just our way. We can never just have a normal passing offense. We can never just get a normal day for Burrow in Cleveland. Never. And the run game seems to always work, but we just don't go towards it. Last year and this year, Fans will look back on both of those games in those first 2 games, and they will say, man, we could have ran the football, and we did it.
Should have run the football. And that's what
And
I mean, that's the thing. You come into this game, you know it's going to be wet, you know it's going to be sloppy, you know it's not going to go well. It's week 1. It's a team that always plays you tough. Come in, and what did we talk about all week, Game On? We talked about, coming in, making it easy on yourself. Make it easy on yourself. Don't do anything that's going to overcomplicate it. Don't try and big brain week 1. This group didn't get the preseason reps that I'm sure we're hearing about right now. I'm sure Game On that this team did not play together in the preseason offensively. So just come out in this week 1 game that's rainy and just get the ball out of Burrow's hands. Let him get a good feel for the game. Make it easy. Make it quick. And then see what we can do. But instead, we came out very conservative on the run game and very aggressive in the pass game early. And again, I said, if you're seeing man, I like taking the matchups. That's great. You can take the matchups, but don't take them like we should not have had 31 pass attempts in this game. We should not have thrown the ball 31 times in a game where it was downpouring for 90% of the game. Like, I don't understand what the idea is there. And that's where, I feel like they executed well, and that's why I told a couple people this, where the Bengals were executing well. I had my issues with kind of broken coverages or just kind of softer zones on the defensive side of things, but the offense was executing well. It was just, you can only execute so much. You can only do so much with a bad play call. And that's where I feel like we're going to have the same conversations we were having last year. That's where it's, we just got to relax, calm down. It's week 1. It's a team that plays us hard. It was messy conditions, a lot of variables there. And they just all seem, the Bengals aren't a lucky team. We know this.
But at what point do you say, okay, well, this is now what the second season in a row we've started off slow, and it's because of new pieces on the offensive line. It's because our quarterback didn't get preseason reps. Like, I get it. I get it. You don't want injuries in preseason, but our quarterback the past 2 years in the first game has not looked himself. And I think that's because coming back from an injury, I think that's because, maybe it has something to do with the weather. Maybe it has something to do with the circumstance. Maybe it has something to do with the offensive line. But he didn't look himself today. Obviously the conditions were a part of that. But the other part is you got to put him in winning situations. And this offensive structure that Zach Taylor and Brian Callahan put together did not work out this time around. That was horrible. And then the Cleveland side, Deshaun, he looked terrible in the first half too. Couldn't complete a pass. A lot of skips, a lot of short throws. Actually, I think I remember he got hit by, it was Hubbard and I think Reeder on a play where he got rid of the football. And after that play, he actually completed like 3 balls, and that's when they got the touchdown right before halftime. Like, that was like rejuvenation of him after that. But before that, he looked like absolutely terrible. He looked awful. So very, very sloppy first half. But the second half, we thought maybe the Bengals would pick it up. Cleveland looked way better. Way better. Second half and first half. We just didn't, offensively, we were terrible. Oh, man.
Well,
Let's talk about, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just a transition to running the ball. I think a big thing that no one really talked about was Burrow didn't look like he was getting out of the pocket fine, trying to create, but we've seen him be more aggressive in the run game. We've seen him get out of the pocket. Nothing's there. I'm going to go get 4 yards. I'm going to go get 3 yards. I'm going to go try and make something happen with my feet. And he really just seemed he was trying to reset his feet. He'd roll out and just slow down and keep his eyes down. He wasn't trying to make anything happen. And I think that's kind of where that calf injury comes in. It's gonna linger. It's one of those things that I'm sure he'll be thinking about early. I thought he held the ball a lot, and that's where I wanted to get away from the passing game. Don't let him just drop back and run the ball. Get the ball into Mixon's hands. Use this bigger offensive line that they have. Use this massive left side of the line and just just go maul people. I feel like we talked about that so much, and that's where it's just so frustrating. Where it's, if they were doing it and it wasn't working, I'd understand. But when Mixon has 6.4 yards per carry at the half, and then 4.3 over the game, I don't understand. I just don't understand what they're doing. Again, I just keep thinking of how many 3rd and 3s, third and 4s they were in, and they didn't even attempt to run the ball. I mean, you can run the ball, get inches, and just push it in. Go sneak it. Maybe you go deep shot on 3rd down, run the ball on 4th and short. Like I don't know. I don't know what the game plan was. I feel like I'm having deja vu, man. I'm talking about all the same things. Didn't attack the middle of the field. Didn't run the ball. I mean, even if it was working. Like I'm confused, Game On. I'm confused.
I mean, Joe Mixon, 13 carries, 56 yards in the total game, and he had the 22-yard breakout run where I was like, oh, maybe Taylor will run the football now. Because, hey,
man, that was fun to watch. We should do that again.
Here's our first big run. It makes a lot of sense. Hey, he broke out on that toss play to the right side. Maybe we can incorporate that a little bit more. Maybe we can now move to the left side. I didn't see a lot to the left side.
Nope.
I only saw a couple of powers. I didn't see any toss plays to the left side. And then Evans, 2 carries, 12 yards. So I mean, he came in. He had a few. Yep. Travion only had the 2 carries, like I said on that drive. He had the 2-yarder, and then he had the 5-yarder after that. Why didn't we run the football?
All 3 backs look good. All 3. They played Evans, Williams, and Mixon, and all 3 did a great job. All 3 of them. I mean, like we talked about earlier, Williams fell and still got 2 to 3 yards. Like what are we doing, man? What are we doing?
And then in the end, Joe Burrow goes 14 of 31, 45% for the game, 2.6 yards per attempt, 82 yards total, no touchdowns, no picks, and a 52.2 quarterback rating because we didn't run the football. If we would have just ran the football and mixed and matched a little bit of run and pass, but had a primary focus towards the run, would have been a completely different outcome, in my opinion. It would have been.
I want to respond to Thom in the chat because I really appreciate this chat. I keep it up. I like listening to everybody because I feel like this is going to be something that people talk about all week where, we're hammering to run the ball. We're really hammering to focus on the run, emphasize the run. It was working. Why aren't we doing it? They did get stopped on that 3rd down when they only needed 2 yards. Kappa missed the linebacker, shot in, made the play, happened. NFL defense is going to make plays. It's going to happen. But if you're stopping the run game because of that stop, why are we still going back to the pass game and having 31 attempts when we're taking deep shots down the sideline and nothing's happening? The completion percentage was not good. You just heard what the passer rating was. So if we're going to stop the run game after one play, then why are we going to keep going back to the pass game? You should not default to the pass game. You should default to what's working. The run game was working. It's a numbers game. Yeah,
and I do want to give a shout out to the chat. Thank you all you wonderful people for being here today and voicing your opinion of what you saw in the game. Oh, man. I just cannot believe that this happened today, Parker. I thought I was going to have a great Sunday. We were going to come on this show and talk about how strong the offense looks, how we're primed for a Super Bowl run, how the defense is playing championship level. You've seen the changes with DJ Turner being out there now, and how Dax Hill is completely different look than Jesse Bates. They're able to go a little bit more single high, play a little bit more man. The defensive pass rush is going crazy. And we didn't get to talk about any of that because offensively we look lost. I mean, more lost than I think. Those at the circus, they have those rooms that you go into and you just see a bunch of mirrors, right? And you never know which way to go. Okay, we were more lost than when you're in one of those rooms with the mirrors. We were so lost today. It was awful. Absolutely awful. Let's talk about the defensive pressure though. I mean, what did you like? Let's get some positivity in here. What did you see out of this defensive line that has you excited for game 2?
Well, I was talking about it from the first drive where I was like, Hendrickson's going to get a sack. He was a pressure machine today, a pressure machine. He was in the backfield. He was hitting the quarterback. He was getting hands on the quarterback. I mean, he was working the left tackle today, and that's what you love to see early in the year. I think they had great interior pressure. I didn't think they tried doing some stunts around the edge. They didn't do as well as I would have liked them to see. But I mean, we put in the second string D line, and we're still getting pressure. We're still stopping the run. I mean, I think up front this defense looked legit, and I think it's everything that we expected to see out of them. And that makes me feel good. That makes me feel good. Game on.
100%. Trey Hendrickson looked like a phenom out there. He absolutely dominated Jedrick Wills today. I also felt like Cam Sample, when he stepped in, had his way with Jedrick. Interior-wise, I felt like Zach Carter had a few pressures that forced Deshaun out of the pocket. And he had a couple skip throws because of it. On the right side, Sam Hubbard was going up against DeJuan because
Jones.
Conklin gets hurt early in the game, right? So DeJuan comes in, and really all Hubbard can do is just hold hands with him and wait for either the running back or the quarterback to come close and then fight him off and run past him. So like he's hand fighting with him the whole time. Like you cannot rush DeJuan Jones. You just can't do it. You have to either get to the outside or you have to just be physical handsy with him until somebody comes close to you, and then you can shed it and get to be able to make the tackle. Hubbard did that a few times today. So felt like that left side really, really getting pressure. That right side, not so much today. But again, DeJuan Jones is an animal.
Yeah, DeJuan Jones was getting his against Sam Hubbard. I'm sure the Browns fans love to see that, out of a backup guy that had to come in early. Prayers up for our guy on the right side, man. That was an unfortunate week 1 injury that you just hate to see. And like I said, I think my biggest concern right now with the defense, linebackers look great playing side to side, filling lanes. I think I'm excited for linebacker play for sure. This front seven looks really good. Even the backup D line, like I said, did great. But I am worried if we're going to sit back and zone this year, because there was a lot of open receivers today. Game on. There was a lot of open receivers today.
I think that'll come with communication. Obviously, Nick Scott being new to his assignments. DJ Turner played a little bit more than I didn't even think I would actually see him too much today. I thought maybe 5-6 snaps. I felt like was Awuzie maybe on a little bit of a pitch count today, where Turner and him were switching on and off, and I felt like Turner got a lot of looks today. So
yes,
I think that'll change. I think that'll change because obviously Turner much better as a man corner, more in that Awuzie role than he is a zone corner. And then I think that it's a young secondary, all things considered, right? So I think they'll get better as time goes along. That was the one thing that we talked about in the offseason, where we felt like we would have a little bit of a weakness to start, but they would get much better as the season goes along. So, we did have some open guys today, but I think, they'll pick it up and the communication will be better and the lanes will be a lot more condensed than they were today.
For sure. I just want to thank everybody in the chat again for being down here. I know it's just great to have a community that we can all vent together. We can come here after a showing like that, an opening weekend of NFL football, and we can say, man, why did I wait this long to watch that happen? And I'm glad we can do that together. And there's no one I'd rather spend my time with on this lovely Sunday afternoon than Gameon right here, man.
Right here with you, Parker. Shout out to the chat. Somebody asked earlier in the chat, how many times did Burrow get sacked today? Burrow was sacked twice today. Deshaun was sacked 3 times. So even though a decent amount of pressure on Burrow, which forced him, to have to play the short game in the first half, and the second half, really, really think about quick throws, only sacked twice today. I think, a lot more creativity and a lot more over the middle of the field would have helped him out. a little bit more today, but it was not so. We targeted majority of the times those one-on-one situations like we said that we would if they were playing man coverage, and Joe Burrow was not. I don't. First of all, I don't think he was on today, and second of all, I just don't think that the receivers had enough stick in their hands because of the rain to be able to catch some of these footballs on the outside.
We did get
So,
one glove
hey,
Joe today. We did get one glove Joe today.
We got one glove Joe today.
We did.
And the only thing that makes me feel better, Parker, is the fact that I think the Pittsburgh Steelers ended up losing today by a lot of points. And that always makes me happy.
That's a great example of a game to reference, though. I mean, how good did this Steelers offense look in the preseason when they were getting reps together as an offense? They look pretty good. And they're not doing so good today. I mean, they are playing a Super Bowl contending team, but allegedly they are one as well. And they got their preseason reps together, and now how's that going?
Kenny Pickett sacked overall, 5 times. Man,
that was,
gave up
that's a hard
2 interceptions.
Oh, wow. I didn't even – that's so embarrassing.
68 quarterback rating, bro. 68 quarterback rating for Kenny Pickett today. Obviously, you played better than Burrow, but that offensive line, that was not building the picket fence today. They definitely gave up a lot of pressures. They gave up a lot of sacks, and the Steelers definitely paid for it. Lost today, 30-7.
Other news in the AFC North: J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins is down. He's probably done.
Yeah, went to the locker room today.
Yeah.
Justice, he got hurt last season. I think torn ACL, maybe in the preseason. I can't remember specifically what the injury was, but I want to say torn ACL. And then he was looking good really before that point. Like he was really looking good. And today, 2 touchdowns from Justice Hill. That's Dax Hill's brother, who is also a running back for the Ravens. So the Ravens not going away from that running game like I thought they would. A little bit more pass happy. Not so much. I don't think Lamar's numbers were good on the day either. So
overall, rough start for the AFC North. I would because I wouldn't say the Browns had a great game. I just think the Bengals couldn't get out of their own way. So we'll we'll hope for brighter futures because we've seen 0-1 before. We've seen 0-2 before. We've seen 4-3, 3-4.
That's true. That's true.
We got time.
As a Bengals fan, looking back on this loss, it's one that you hold in your heart, right? Like we have in past years. And when we have a loss like this, the offense and the defense both respond in the next game with a resounding win, with an emphatic win. And they carry on a winning streak. Both of the past 2 times that we've been blown out, we've had winning streaks thereafter. I expect that to happen now. But this is the opportunity for this team to show us that they're for real and that they mean business. They have to be able to respond from this loss and come forward next week with a plan against the Ravens and look good with that plan. They got to be able to do it offensively. And then defensively, just keep doing what you're doing. You're creating pressure. The defensive secondary is getting after it. They're creating opportunities for interceptions and forced fumbles and all that. So I think that's going to continue. But the offense just has to get going in order for us to be better moving forward. What do you think?
Yeah, and that's the thing I really just want to make sure we hit on. It was like this defense was impressive. This defense looked good. The linebackers were flying around. We were stopping the run. I mean, Nick Chubb's going to get his. I think we all should know that now if we don't know it already. Nick Chubb is going to get his. However, I think the Bengals did a great job at stopping the run. I mean, once you get enough volume from that guy, he's going to get 100 yards. But guess what? We're getting a ton of pressure on Deshaun. Like you said, we had 3 sacks on Deshaun. That was a great showing from the defensive front. Great showing from the linebackers. And like we talked about earlier, I think this back end of the defense has a lot more to give than they gave today, and they did not look too bad today. They were flying around back there, man. There's a lot of positive coming from this defense that I felt like was one of the bigger question marks. And then I feel like the run game on the offensive side of the ball looked good. I feel like we all expected a more improved run game, and I think we got it. So if we can, again, just like last year, if we can learn how to attack the middle of the field in the passing game, we're there. We're just missing that one phase, and we unfortunately went to that one phase 31 times today. So if we can just, work out the kinks there, get Joe Burrow in the groove, we're going to be just fine.
I was having a hard time deciphering between Chubb and Ford today. Chubb had 18 carries for 106 yards, 5.9 yards per carry. Ford, 15 carries, 36 yards, 2.4 yards per carry. And also he had the fumble, which was recovered by Awuzie, a great play by Jermaine Pratt. 206 yards overall for the Browns offense rushing. And when they do that against us, every single time, it's a blowout. We can never get past it. What do you look for next week for us against the Ravens? What do you want to see?
Well, first off, I'm excited to see Paycor Stadium because I will be at the home opener game on. I'm excited to make the journey out there and see the stadium. But what I'm looking for from this team game on, we need to be more efficient. I think that was their biggest issue tonight was efficiency because once they got rolling, they found a way to shoot themselves in the foot, whether it was a weird penalty or a weird play call. If they can just, they have to get in the groove, come out early, receive the ball again, get a nice drive together, go score. When the Bengals score first, they win football games. And so I expect them to go find a way to get in a rhythm. And I expect this defense that always seems to find a way to have their way with the Ravens to do just that next week against the Ravens at home. What do you expect to see next week?
I agree 100%. Not only efficiency, but win on third down. That is my call to Zach Taylor and Brian Callahan. Let's win on third down. Let's create some momentum. I used to say, hey, let's play a clean football game. Now I'm saying, hey, let's just convert. Let's convert on third downs. That will put us in great situations moving into the red zone. Then we can talk about red zone efficiency. But today, awful on third down, 2 of 15. Never want to see it again.
Yeah, we can't be stopped on third down that often and then have a mediocre punt game because it's a rainy game. We got to find a way to make those third downs happen. And that's where I feel like they will. I feel good. I still feel good. It was week 1 against a team we don't match up well in a downpour. Weird stuff's going to happen. But guess what, guys? We got 16 more games before games really start to matter. We got 16 more games to get through.
The road to the Super Bowl is never easy, Parker. Never easy. The good news, no injuries today. So the team is going clean into week 2, and maybe we get Osai back, and that pass rush is even better than what we saw today. Anything else you want to say before we end this thing?
Nah, man, I'm just excited we're healthy. I'm excited football's back. Let's go watch some more football today and get excited for the Ravens game next week. Game on.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Chat, we appreciate you guys for being here today, even though it was such a gloomy day to be a Bengals fan. But there is always tomorrow, and we are still on a run for a Super Bowl. Everyone have a great night. Who day, and we'll see you next week.
Who day.